What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today I'm going to be talking about the 2021 511 ABR Advent Calendar, which is basically just a bunch of Ranger eyes that you're supposed to open each day from the 1st to the 24th of December, leading up till Christmas. And so this is not actually the 2021 on the table, this is this year's 2022. And the reason I have 2022 is I'm not actually going to open this. I plan on opening these how it's intended on the day that they're intended and making a quick short on each of them. If you really want spoilers, I'm sure someone's already posted them online. But the intention behind this video is for people who are looking at this, want an idea of what might be inside, but don't want to be spoiled in case they end up buying it. And so I'm going to be showing last year's, I'm going to be talking really briefly about each one, and then at the end about what I would change, what I hope they change for this year's, and just kind of give a really brief overview. And so this one you can buy right now for $100. I wouldn't pay that. Coupon codes work on it. So I paid $85. If I would have waited until Black Friday weekend, I think I could have gotten it a little bit cheaper even. But I paid $85 for it, which works out to about $3.75 a patch, which isn't bad compared to standard patch, they're PVC patches, so standard PVC patch price. But you have to keep in mind that you might not like all of them. So if you only like one in every three, then instead of $3.75 a patch, you're paying, over $10, almost $11. And so it really kind of, your mileage is going to vary based on how much you like them, because even though it's pretty cheap per patch, if you don't like half of them, it's not worth saving the money on it. But one other thing to keep in mind is I was at the Cerritos 511 location in early September, I want to say, and they still had last year's on clearance for $40, so that's less than $2 a patch. And if you're willing to wait, you may be able to get this one at that clearance price. I'm sure it was online as well, but yeah, they were still in stock in September, so I think you probably will be able to get a hold of this, and even online directly after December, it's probably deeply discounted. So I'm going to get this out of the way, and I'm going to go in order of what we got last year. So starting with day one, we got this gift or care package, and this is probably the simplest illustration of all of the patches we got. So for me, I wish they would have done something out the gate where it was a little bit more exciting, because this is probably the most boring of the patches. I think it actually looks pretty good. It's a striking image, you know immediately what it is. The black and red looks good together. But again, I would just wish they would have done something a little bit more exciting for day one. And you'll notice they're a hexagon shape, so six-sided. And they're all like that. I also wish we would have gotten different shapes, round and square ones, just because these are a little bit harder to put next to other non-hexagon patches. And so it might have worked better if you got a little bit of a mix. But I don't mind the hexagon shape in general. Just wish we would have got more variety. So day two is, you can see a little bit more exciting. The illustration on this is a lot better. It's smoke canisters, or I guess in this case, snowflake canisters, and says "'Tis the season" on it. And the idea behind it, you pull the pin, got instant Christmas. So I like this one a little bit better. I wish they would have just swapped it. For day one, for me, feels like it's a day 9 patch, not something that is the first one that's going to get you excited about opening all the rest. I remember opening and thinking, I just hope that they're not all this simple, and none of them are. That's the only one that's that simple. So definitely could have done that a little bit differently. Day 3, we have, and I'm going to be careful with my wording here just because YouTube doesn't love certain words, but some ammunition gift wrapped, and a little bit, it's going to be hard to get around it with a lot of these, so it's got a bow on it. I like this one a lot, really striking image, and just think this one is a little bit more universal. It's obviously in Christmas colors, but that's one other thing that I really wish we would have gotten more of, is a little bit more universal patches. So next up we have a German Shepherd with a Santa hat. This is day 4. Really like this one. I'm a dog lover, animal lover in general. I have a dog and a couple snakes, and so anything with animals on it is going to be pretty exciting for me. Don't have a German Shepherd, but still like this one a lot. And day 5, we have this grenade with kind of a ribbon rings. And so another really just simple but clear image that isn't too Christmassy. It doesn't scream Christmas, so I like that one. Day 6, we get something a little bit different, and this is the only one in this color, so I wish we would have got a few more of this color because I like it a lot. This one has a penguin that's decked out with some tactical gear, and probably my favorite one so far of everything that we've received. So we're up to day 6, and I really like the penguin one, and we have a couple that are similar, so all of those are a big hit for me. Day 7, we have kind of a take on the Christmas story. Obviously, instead of the leg, we get something else, and it says fragile on there. So it's spelled a little bit weird and obviously supposed to be pronounced a little bit weird. But I like this one because it's based on a Christmas movie, clearly, but no one would bat an eye if they saw that outside of December. It's not out of place because it's referencing a movie, not necessarily the holiday, even though it's a holiday movie. So big fan of that one. That's day 6 and 7. I think were really solid and the best 2 so far. Next up we have Go Ham, and if you're not familiar, again, trying to be a more family-friendly channel, although I've definitely cuss on the channel occasionally. I'm trying to limit it. If you're not familiar with what Go Ham is hard as a mother effer, and so like that one, almost no reference to Christmas. The colorways aren't Christmassy, so another one that you can use pretty much year-round, and it's still a Christmas reference. It could be a Thanksgiving reference, it could be a Easter, whatever holiday you want, and just used year-round. So next up is another movie reference, or it can be a movie reference, doesn't necessarily have to be, but Bad Santa. This is the first one we have on the white PVC, and I think that looks pretty good. I lost track of where we're at again. That's 9, so on to 10. This is another one that I really like. It's a reindeer, but it's got wings and a pilot's mask, oxygen mask on there, just kind of giving the impression that it's flying a lot faster than his typical reindeers. So, big fan of that one. Next up, we have, I believe we're on day 11, the no sign with the snowflake inside. Obviously, clearly, you can kind of guess at what they mean here, but another one that really can fit in any time of the year. It is Christmas colors, but because everyone knows what it's saying, it's just one that you can use any time of the year. And there's very few of those left, and so also like that one, I'm not someone who's going around calling people snowflakes, so it's not really super in my vocabulary, but I still kind of appreciate that it's a year-round patch. And this one is not a year-round, but also one of my favorites in here, just Santa Claus with some night vision goggles on, all tactical. And I think that's one of the better images on here. And then on to, I believe we're at 13, we have Happy Krampus, or Merry Krampus. And this one's really cool because it's not as Christmassy, it's more traditional Krampus, and I like the illustration on it quite a bit. It's very different from all of the other ones. And so this is another one that's probably in my top 5. Really like the illustration on this one. It's just a little bit different art style. And then going back to number 1, you can see all of the illustrations we have so far are just so much more involved and complex than what we got on day 1. So that kind of gives you a sense of why I felt like it should be further in the lineup. So next up, we have this gingerbread man with a candy cane, and he's got kind of that head wrap, and it just looks really good. Also, the only patch we get in this colorway, which I think looks really good. So of all of these, this one's probably up there also, and maybe in my top 3 even. I really like this one a lot. I think the illustration is just cute and fun, and like the colorway a lot. Next one is pretty similar, but not as big a fan, is the snowman. And this one's also all tacticaled out. I think it looks really good. I just feel like this one's a little bit more striking. And so between the two of them, I like the gingerbread man more. I think they're both really good. I just like this one a little bit better. Next up, we have another gift. This one has some crossbones underneath, and this would also be a pretty suitable replacement for day 1. If they would just switch these out, I would have felt like that would be a little bit better. And as you can see, they have a similar vibe, but this one just looks so much better. So again, I think that would be a suitable replacement for day 1. Next up, we have this kind of half and half. It's a snowflake with a skull on the side. I think this one looks good. It's not as exciting as some of the other ones for me, but it's also not bad. It's kind of right in the middle of the road for me. Next up, we have a tank carrying home a Christmas tree, and it says Merry Missions on there. I'm not sure how well that'll pick up. It's pretty small, but it says Merry Missions. And this is another one I really like. It's just a little bit different than all of the rest. I think, and I'm a little bit of a spoiler, but no sleigh in here, so I feel like there was an opportunity to get a kind of tactical or just fun-looking sleigh in one of these, and they didn't take advantage of that. But this is kind of the closest we got with the tank delivering Christmas trees. This next one, I'm not so familiar with the symbol. Obviously, it's something to do with medical. I'm guessing it's a combat medic type thing. I'm not military, so I'm not familiar with the symbology, but it's decorated. I think this one looks good. This is one that I'm not going to put on my pouches just because I don't know what it means. Didn't serve in the military, so don't want to, stolen valor type situation. And so I think this one's pretty cool. If it's relevant to you, it's not so relevant to me, and I'd be kind of hesitant to put it on any of my pouches. So middle of the road for me, but that one might rank a lot higher for someone who actually served and it actually is something meaningful to them. Now next up is this combat axe crossed with a candy cane. I like this one a lot. It's super simple, but just a fun design and doesn't scream Christmas too much. Obviously the candy cane is Christmas, but it's pretty subtle design that just really striking visual. Now this one, I think we're on maybe 22, I want to say, 21. This one just says joy and some ammunition. Another one that's super simple, but really like it as well. That's one that kind of can get away outside of December. Obviously the colors are Christmas, but you can be joyful and enjoy that kind of theme any time of the year. So that one's a little bit less Christmassy, which I like. And this one even more so. This I believe is 22. And you have some glasses. Obviously one of the lenses has been shot out, and striking image that definitely doesn't scream Christmas. It's red, but if you have this on a pouch in March, no one's gonna bat an eye at it. And so another simple one that I like a lot. And then these next two for 23 and 24 are a little bit bigger. So the rest of these are kind of standard Ranger eye size, obviously not standard shape, but standard size. And these ones are probably about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So 23, we got a Yeti drinking some eggnog. And I almost wish this one would have been moved to the forward. So we got to the front, or the first. We got two larger ones, and this is a really, really cool design. Obviously, anything cryptid I'm going to be a big fan of. And so this would have been a cool one to really get you excited about the Advent calendar. Put this in one and then have the larger patches kind of bookending both ends. But this was 23 and one of my favorites of all, so it's good that they're kind of ending on a strong note. And then lastly, 24, another one with a unique colorway and also larger, is this Milk and Cookies MRE for Santa. And this is a really, really cool one as well. So they ended it really, really strongly. And that's all of them. So overall, I think I probably liked a little more than a third of them, enough that I would pay $5 or maybe $6 or $7 for them. And then there's another third that are kind of middle of the road. I'm excited to have them, but wouldn't have necessarily clicked order if I were buying them individually. And then there's some that for sure I probably would have passed on the first, this skull and snowflake, which doesn't look bad, but is pretty simple. The combat medic one, obviously, again, just because it's not super relevant to me and I would be kind of hesitant to put it on a pouch since I didn't serve. Although I like this one, I probably wouldn't order that one either. So there's a decent handful that I definitely wouldn't order, another handful that I'm happy to have, but probably wouldn't order, and then about 10 or so that I would order for the right price, $5 or $6, like I said. And so overall, I don't think it's a horrible deal. I would have been much happier if I got it at that $40 price point months later, and probably would not have bought the 2022 version if it weren't for just kind of making the content in a timely, so everyone sees it as it opens. But if I were not making content on it, I'd probably still buy it, but I'd probably wait until after the holidays when it goes on clearance. So overall, I'd say my favorites are definitely these two larger ones, and all of the kind of holiday themed tactical ones. So all of these ones are pretty high up there. I really like the reindeer one, the Christmas story one, these three. And so, like I said, a decent amount of them I did end up liking, so I don't think it's a horrible thing. What I would change next year, obviously, I've mentioned it a few times, is really just the first being a little bit more of an exciting one to get you pumped about the rest of the month. And then the other thing is the shapes of everything. I just wish they weren't all hexagons. If we can get some rounds and some squares, just more standard shapes, I think I would like that a little bit more. And then the big one for me is I wish they weren't all Christmas themed. I realize it's an advent calendar, but that means that most of these you can't use the rest of the year. So I definitely singled that out as I was going through of, okay, this one, it's not so out of place the rest of the year. And so I like that about it. And I wish they would have done half to a third of them not Christmas themed, just so you can get stuff that you're going to use year round. Obviously, you're excited about opening all of these, and you get some of the best ones at the end of the month, 23rd and 24th, and then Christmas happens and you're not really using Christmas patches anymore, and so you tuck them away for a year and you don't use them. And so I definitely would have liked it a little bit better if you got some stuff that you could use year round. And there's definitely some you can slightly adapt to that, but they're definitely all Christmas themed. And so hopefully next year they take some of that feedback into account. If you look at the reviews, I don't know if the listing's still up, the reviews of last year, they got a lot of this type of feedback. They responded to it, that they'll take that to their marketing team or product team or whatever it is. And so hopefully they take some of that feedback to heart and really adjust it. I think overall though, it's a decent deal for a decent amount of patches if you just want to grow your collection. But again, because it's all Christmas centric, you're really growing your December collection, and the other 11 months out of the year, you're kind of out of luck. And they don't really make patches for any of the other holidays or that sort of thing. So this is the only one you're going to have a plethora of patches for, which is a little bit weird. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Definitely stay tuned for the shorts if you're interested in seeing what's in this year's. Again, I'll be doing one every day from the 1st to the 24th, and then sometime in that last week of December I'll make a video talking about my thoughts on those ones, so that next year I don't have to make a video for the previous year. People can just reference back to that. But thanks so much for watching. Again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, and as always, I hope you have a great one. Take care.